Good afternoon, fellow blabbers. So I'm just waiting for Vincent to get on so we can start the show. How's everybody how's your week actually? I'm sorry I missed last week. I was actually sick, very sick. So I'm really glad Vincent was there to jump in. He did a great job with the show. So Vincent said he will be joining here in a second. We got a lot of great topics to talk to you today about. What's going on, Vincent?
What's up, CK?
How is everything going? I was just telling everybody, big thanks. You did a great job last week with last week's blab. By the way, nice shirt.
When's yours coming in the mail, bud?
I'm not sure actually. I requested one. We'll see. Today I actually have a short stack shirt on, which you can't really see, but they've emblazoned the logo here on the bottom part of the shirt.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Gotta love swag.
If you're a brand watching and you want us to wear your shirt, we're happy to wear your shirt. Feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to me at Christian@socialchefs.com or on Twitter at socialchefs or at CKROKS, either one. So I'm actually pulling up today's notes because I think you and I talked and we had a lot of things to cover today, right?
Tons. And we're gonna really stick to our 60 minutes today from what I understand.
We are going to do our best.
Let's do it.
So, and by the way, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover some of these topics, and then if you want to jump onto the blab, we'll at the end of after kind of going over the topic, we'll invite people to come on. So if you want to jump on at that point, we'd love it if you would come on and chat with us for a couple minutes. Okay, so let's see what happened this week. Let's start off with a new feature called Twitter Moments. For those of you who, I really wish we had screen sharing capabilities, but basically what this feature is Twitter has now provided basically a way to get moments basically in an instant. I'm going to give you guys a couple of links here. I'll put them in the chat window for you. But basically what this tool is it's a tool to help you get to whatever's popular on Twitter, not just like a trending topic. If you are on your smartphone, you can basically go on here. You need to update the Twitter app, and there will be a lightning bolt that will show up within the Twitter app. Now, I updated my app the other day. It was not there the first time, but I heard they pushed it later in the day. So actually, here it is, actually. So it's called Moments. Let me see if I can get that up there on the screen for everybody. So there's this cool little lightning bolt here in the middle.
Yep.
So when you tap that, basically what you're going to get is the biggest things that are happening on Twitter at the moment. Pretty neat. So that's the first topic. Vincent, do you have anything to talk about on that one?
Well, look at it. It's moving.
Very nice. What do we got? Is that
moving? It's like, man, I love it. I don't. What's your first impression, man? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Indifferent? What?
I actually, at first, it kind of reminded me of like, okay, great. I go to Facebook, I can see like, show me these profiles first and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, cool. Seems similar to that. But I like the fact that it has this cool video, for instance, going on.
Yeah.
I think that Twitter does need to do something a little bit different, to really, kind of go beyond just like tweets. They really have to start to incorporate a lot of that visual media into things. And, I personally like it. I mean, it is interesting. I'm looking at some of the results. You've got Getty Images, World News, Mashable, things like that. I mean, I don't really regard Mashable to be that much of a hot commodity these days. I kind of stopped reading them a while ago. So I do hope that some of the content that does show up in Moments is something that is going to be beyond kind of just the regular sites that we're used to reading. Anybody that's watching right now, do you want to jump on and talk about Twitter Moments right now? If you've tried it out, what your thoughts are?
I love it. I can tell. I after using it here and there, it has the feel of Snapchat, which I don't think is an accident.
Right.
Between Twitter and like we've talked about how many times now, probably on every show about Facebook and Snapchat, right?
Right.
those two platforms are and even Instagram. I mean, that's part of Facebook too. So even Instagram, like they're seeing Snapchat success, and that's how you know you've made it, right? Is when the other companies like Facebook and Twitter start taking on some of your kind of functions and design and look. The video is great. I mean, one of the things I have on mine. I mean, there's also the categories on the top, which I actually didn't notice that till just now.
Yeah, I got to say the categories are pretty cool. So, for example, like here's what I think is actually really neat about Twitter moments. For instance, like, you know, if I'm watching like sports and I want to see, for instance, an upset, like this is pretty awesome. So, like anybody who's a USC and a Washington Huskies fan, you can see a major catch. I mean, that reminds me right there of creating a Vine, for instance, and sticking that into this content, because remember, Twitter owns Vine. So
well, and then as you like, again with the Snapchat feel of it, it's definitely got the feel of stories on Snapchat and of the like the branded stories that Snapchat puts out there. You know, like last night they had the American League Divisional Series in baseball, right? We click on that and you get like 2 minutes worth of snaps based on like that people took and, you know, geo filtered and all that. And on this, if you go through like that one, you said the Washington and USC game, if you click on that and then you move right to left, you know, it shows the catch, right? But then if you move right to left, it's got tweets from people about the game. And it's, you know, they're basing it on the hashtags, like hashtag USC, hashtag UW Husky. So all the hashtags relate. So it's all these different things relating to that game. It's absolutely almost an identical, not identical, like ripoff of Snapchat. Whatever that feature's called specifically. I don't even know what it's specifically called, but those branded snaps, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, it's a pretty neat feature there. I mean, I like that they're doing something a little bit different than what they normally do. So, you know,
I like it. Yeah, I really like it. And even you know, it's funny because the Mashable stuff, I hear that a lot from us, from our community, our industry, the marketing people, like who we used to be all over Mashable.
Yeah.
And now I hear it all the time, like, oh, I don't even look at Mashable anymore, blah, blah. But I wonder if that's because it's not the focus for them has scaled to like the masses even more so.
Right. It could be
and
that,
it's not.
It could be, you know, it could be that, or it could be the fact that, you know, there are just so many other sources for news these days.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's like, hey, oh, you know what? I'm not going to check it out on Mashable, for instance, because maybe they've already, you know, somebody else has already published that on another blog or something like that. I
mean, BuzzFeed kind of took some of their thunder with the scope of what they've been doing over the last year or so. But like Mashable, it's not one of those places I think of like, oh, I want to find out the news about, you know, there's certain types of news that I go to for that, right? It's probably you too.
Right.
You know, the Facebooks, the stories about Facebook or the stories about social media, they'll have a lot of that. They'll have the kind of fun water cooler stuff. But yeah, I usually end up there because of something that it just ends up in my feed somehow. And now this is great for them. I don't know, you know, what the deal was that they signed with Twitter to get featured in there, get their stories kind of in that featured feed. But it must be something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not really sure what they did, but it will be nice if you start to get, I mean, I guess maybe they'll pull in a major news source, and then what they'll probably do is maybe outside of that, they'll pull in, maybe they'll start to pull in like, you know, other like smaller blogs and outlets and things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, it's funny. Last note on that. It's funny because they started Social Media Day.
Yeah. Right.
Created it, and pretty much they really don't do a lot around that day to promote it. They do a little, like maybe one piece ahead of time saying, hey, Social Media Day is coming up.
Right.
On the day, they maybe do one thing, and then after that they do a small recap, and they really don't even include a lot of the places that are doing Social Media Day. They do a couple.
Right.
And they say, hey, these cities did social media day. And I'm not just saying that because I was part of social media day Phoenix putting that together and we didn't get in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the San Diego one didn't even get in there. Mm-hmm. And that one was major, so it's just kind of weird. So anyway, that's my rant on Mashable.
So I'm going to put a quick, I'm going to drop the link in here for this first topic. If you want to start talking about the second one, let's go and start there.
Yeah, man. So the next thing we're going to talk about is LinkedIn revamping messaging. That's the next one we want to talk about?
That is actually the next one. And,
okay.
I think you and I talked a little bit about this, but one thing that LinkedIn is doing is they're trying to basically make their messaging platform, how can I put it? I guess more fun.
Yeah, more user-friendly.
More, do what?
User-friendly.
Yeah, more user-friendly, more fun. They're basically trying to make it more like people are using, WhatsApp and, Facebook Messenger and Apple's Messages program as well. So they're adding it, one is they're trying to kind of get away from what they're kind of known for, I guess. And in addition to that, they are also adding emoji support, which I actually find really intriguing because I don't know how many people are going to, try to connect with somebody on LinkedIn and all of a sudden, hey, they put a nice big emoji in their message. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't, it's too little too late to me. I mean, how long have people been complaining, including myself and you, about their app, just their app in general, the LinkedIn app? I mean, it's definitely out of the major social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat in there, Instagram, and LinkedIn, they have the worst app. They just have the worst apps, absolute worst app. And it's not friendly. It's clunky. And the messaging there just kind of mirrored the messaging on the desktop.
Right.
And now it looks like, if you look at the messaging, they're trying to style it more after Facebook's messaging.
Mm-hmm.
But until they have, because the messaging now is still within the LinkedIn app.
Right.
So until they actually get more serious about it, I guess, and have a separate messenger app, it's not, I don't know, it's just still not worth my time. Like I'm not, between all the spam that you get on LinkedIn and now they have that class action suit that just happened, just got finalized essentially. And I don't know if you got that email. I got an email to go submit my form for to collect in the class action lawsuit on LinkedIn for getting spammed or whatever. So I don't know. It's good that they're focusing on it, but that's, I don't know. That's not what, I don't use LinkedIn for messaging like that.
Right.
Which I think is the main issue. And they're trying to get me to do that. And I'm not going to do it. It's just not going to happen. I'm already embedded in Facebook. I use Facebook Messenger like constantly.
Yeah,
constantly.
Absolutely.
On the app and just on the desktop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, actually, so speaking of that real quick, so we obviously make sure we stay on track here. They also updated, I don't know if you've checked it out, but they also have Apple Watch support for Facebook Messenger now too.
So, yeah. So I got my watch on. I haven't checked it out yet. Let's see.
I tried. I'll tell you right now. I tried loading it yesterday. I got the app installed. I was not able to get the Messenger app to load. It would load, and essentially it would load a blank screen.
Okay.
So I've got that going on right now. Nice blank screen for Facebook. So not really sure what's going on there. I'm wondering if it might require either a restart or maybe remove the app and reinstall it. But yeah, I mean, it is, like you said, I mean, we're on so many different platforms. When some of these other sites make changes, like a lot of people are starting to not really care because, they're so ingrained in other tools already.
Yeah. Like why would I leave Facebook? Because essentially you wouldn't use both. They're really, even though you have different connections,
right,
most likely, different audiences and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not communicating with most people on that platform. And if I'm communicating with those people from LinkedIn, a lot of it's through email,
right.
Or a lot of it's through Twitter, or if it's gotten to the point of Facebook Messenger. I mean, it's just LinkedIn is like a starting point, and I see they're trying to keep you there, right? But I just think it's way too late.
Right. No, absolutely. I think it's I'm kind of interested. I'm intrigued by it because I think at one point, I was like, okay, LinkedIn's kind of, staying on the sidelines, and, and then they started to make a couple moves and whatnot. And then you start to see stats about, hey, how many users they've got, and it's amazing how many users they have on the platform. And then it's like, well, they haven't really updated anything. And then they start to make those moves, and it's kind of like, you kind of missed the boat maybe. So.
It's funny because their stock has been the high for the longest time. It's still the most valuable per share stock of the social media ones between them, Facebook, and Twitter.
Right.
Because of the business side of it, but it's funny because like the actual revenue, I can't imagine that LinkedIn's revenue from advertising, let's say, compares to that of Facebook's right now. I can't, especially when you include Instagram in the Facebook one. Mm-hmm. So LinkedIn, I'm wondering if it's just because they do have all the other solutions for enterprise, with the sales solution and the recruitment separate tool. Like those are all very expensive platforms that I'm sure a lot of the enterprise companies probably use. So I wonder if that's where more of their revenue is coming. I just can't believe it's coming from ads. I don't know anyone that really uses the LinkedIn advertising platform much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what business you're in, maybe.
Well, sure, but I mean, it's just the stuff that you see. Like, how often do you even notice an ad on LinkedIn? Yep. It's like the link on the top above where you are on the screen. You'll look at that. I don't know if I've ever clicked on one. The other ads on the side, it's like I can't say I've ever clicked on one of those. I just don't. It's from the InMail, probably a lot of it,
Right.
And then when they tied in SlideShare and bought SlideShare and brought that in to the ad capability. But yeah, I just think, getting back to the Messenger part, I don't see it really exploding or anything. It's a nice little feature that they can say that they now have, that it's more user friendly, more fun. Mm-hmm. But
So if anybody watching the show today, if you haven't, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, how are you actually using LinkedIn, for instance? Are you using LinkedIn for messaging at all? Is it a big chunk of your business? If it's not, what other platforms are you using? Like Vincent and I both said, hey, we use Facebook Messenger for a lot of things. So we'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Okay, so let me keep this moving. Got a couple of new people joining.
Are we moving into the whole group thing on LinkedIn next?
We are moving into the LinkedIn.
That's big.
Thing. So, okay. So if you guys want to hop in and take a seat with us, feel free to. Topic number 3, LinkedIn group changes. Now, this is actually a pretty major change. I manage a LinkedIn group. They've always been kind of confusing to use. And so some of these changes that are happening. Okay. So
but they used to be more valuable.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, okay, you've got I think nowadays it's kind of gotten buried. I mean, there's just so much other stuff that's kind of, I think, taking people away from them. But basically what they, a couple of changes they've done basically. So they want to obviously make it easier for people to kind of understand how they work and kind of get around inside the group. That was one of the things I always found really tough to use.
Definitely.
For instance, add a new member, or for instance, I want to add an admin or a manager or something like that. I had to go to a couple of menus, and then it was buried deep within a bunch of other menus. So Here's some of the things that have changed. You now have standard and unlisted groups. Okay. So all groups are basically either this. They're either standard or unlisted. Unlisted, they're not going to show up in search. Only the group's owners and managers can invite members to the group. So they kind of remind me of, I'll give you an example here, of Facebook groups.
For sure.
A secret group, basically, where, nobody could really get to it unless you were invited. Yep. So that's one change. Standard groups obviously are going to show up in search results. Anybody who's a member can invite anyone in their first degree connections to join, which I think is kind of interesting. This way, I guess you're building off of like stronger connections. I mean, I'm kind of surprised you can't just invite other people. Maybe I want to invite somebody who's, further down my line, but, maybe somebody I don't really have much of a relationship with. Like, I want to introduce them to stuff. I'm surprised that, you're kind of limited to that kind of connection, but, I guess if it will work for them, it'll work. So that's the first item. All groups are now private. So anything that's happening there won't be visible until you've joined the group, which is kind of nice. Let's see. So let's shoot through a couple other things. They've got supposedly better content filtering. So jobs and things like that are automatically moved to a jobs tab, which I'm kind of glad that happened. Facebook groups were, a lot of times you would have, posts that would show up in a certain tab, even though they should be under promotions or things like that. So that's another change. They've gotten rid of the promotions tab, which is nice. And let's see, they've also gotten rid of subgroups. So, sometimes people would create like a broad group and then they might branch it out into other smaller groups. I'm kind of glad that you can now have different groups for different things. I think that makes a lot of sense. Instead of having to take one group and, create micro groups off of it.
Right.
They also have a new groups mobile app. I have not downloaded it yet, but
is it available?
It says it's available for iOS, but an Android version will be available soon.
Well, I'm going to look for it right now.
I am as well, actually, because it's interesting because, I kind of like this direction most companies are going. They're, launching for iOS first instead of Google, Android. And I'm guessing that's probably because, they realize there's probably maybe more, part of it might be tapping into like the audience. So like they might know that, hey, you know what? Most of the people that are users are using iOS devices versus Android, maybe.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of data to back that up. So I'm going to actually check to see if this.
There's nothing called LinkedIn Groups. There's that LinkedIn Connected one, but that's not new. That's not that app. It's not out. I don't have it yet. I don't have it in my app store yet. So I don't know. I don't know if they have it yet. But how funny is that, right? I mean, that's what we were talking about. And I just tweeted out. I mean, it's literally LinkedIn is looking at Facebook and saying, okay, what's working for Facebook that's not working for us that we can adapt? Okay. So messaging, emojis, groups.
So actually,
let's do all that.
Okay, so that's actually really. And by the way, I put a link to this in the chat window for everybody. If you want to actually, if you want to take a moment and like read through some of the stuff. So this is actually what I think is pretty cool about this. So I would almost compare Facebook to Apple. Okay, so the way that Apple works, everybody comes out with their products, great, right? And Apple all of a sudden comes along and says, okay, we're going to enter this space, even though there's already people in this space. We're going to enter this space. For instance, the watch, right?
Yep.
And they do things better. They do things different than other companies. And then you have like some of these companies, they jump into it and they're like, okay, I think we realize what they're going to do next. So let's try to get ahead of them. And they do the same thing that they think they're going to do. And then the company, like, instead of zigging, they zag, right? And they do something completely different. So it's interesting when you put LinkedIn in this context, of revamping, say, messaging and groups and things like that, and trying to make them, emoji and that sort of stuff, trying to make them more user-friendly and more fun, I guess, in a way. They're trying to copy what Facebook is doing, which seems like is also trying to kind of act like Apple does. So,
which is silly, right? I mean, come on, Christian. Like, don't you think if it was you, say you're in charge of LinkedIn, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, you hear people talking about the app. You hear about the functionality. The groups part has been taking hits over the last year or two because of all the spam and people pretty much flocking to groups on Facebook for certain purposes that are very similar. But there's a lot of business groups on Facebook that probably used to be on LinkedIn. And I think a part of that is also due to that groups app that Facebook has. It makes it so much easier to you sort all your groups, you have favorites, you can just go into your groups if you want. You don't have to go through your whole feed and all that. So they've done it right. But if you're in charge of LinkedIn right now, do you, like you said, do you zig when they're zagging, or do you zag when they're zagging? Like, why wouldn't you take your unique product that's different from Facebook with a much different audience, and it's a different audience because anytime someone posts something that's Facebook-ish on LinkedIn, everyone jumps on the post and comments. I hate how LinkedIn's turning into Facebook. How the content on here is turning into, like, cater to your audience that built you to this point.
That's some really interesting research there. I mean, if you're like trying to do what, if you're doing all these changes because you think these are the right changes, and then you've got your user base turning around and saying, I can't stand this. Like, I left this site because it was turning into this. Like, it's really funny because it's sort of counterintuitive.
Well, even when they have something that they did that was really good, in my opinion, which is LinkedIn Publisher. So LinkedIn Publisher came out, what is it now, 3 years ago, probably?
Right.
And it was initially just influencers, just like certain influencers, and that was it. Right. And then they opened it up to everybody. And when they opened it up to everybody, after about a year of only influencers, people, I know a lot of my friends that are in the space were psyched about it. Like, yeah, I can't wait to blog on LinkedIn, and people still do it. But when they first opened it up to all of us, the reach on there was different. The reach on there, you could get 20,000 views on a good post that you did, and I'm like just some small guy in Phoenix. Like, I had 20,000 views on one of my posts. I was in like 2 days. I was psyched. I'm not what's his name from Virgin Airlines? Richard Branson. Yeah, Richard Branson. Like, he posts something 2 million views, on LinkedIn. Elon Musk, they all get huge views, right? If I got 20,000 views is a lot for me for something like that on LinkedIn that I did. And funny enough, it was about Facebook Messenger. But it was like the next month after that, then they killed the reach. They specifically killed the reach on purpose, and you can't get that anymore. You can't. Yeah. As just a regular person.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so why do that? And then also why do like what they're doing now, where they're trying to become Facebook, when you have this unique thing, you have this really good, enthusiastic community around your platform, which they had a bigger one. It's smaller now. They still have it though. They still have the diehards. And then there's people that just use it for, here and there because they're looking for a job, right? They'll hop on, they'll pay for a month of their extended professional profile, and then they'll cancel it after a month if they get a job. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things they could do that are different than what they're doing that would actually bring them more success, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. So I'm going to roll down the list. Keep rolling down this list, by the way. So obviously, I put links in here for people that want to learn about LinkedIn group changes. If you manage them, I personally manage one for business, but at the same time, I also have a Facebook group, for instance, that I use specifically for my Social Chefs brand. Which, by the way, I'll put a link in here as well for anybody that wants to join it, and kind of just come chat with us.
The part about the private groups, the groups only being members only or private is big.
Right.
What that means is right now, what I heard a really good piece of advice from someone that we should probably pass along here is that if there's any groups that you want to be in specifically that you're not in right now, go join them now, because you're probably going to have a hard time getting into them later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great point. So let's roll down this list. So, okay, we know this couldn't be a show without any Facebook updates. And we don't actually have too many today. The first one I actually just wanted to mention is Facebook has, they're testing out a new feature. We're just going to briefly talk on this. just because it's not really something that is like a major update right now. But within Messenger, they are rolling out video updates for somebody's birthday. So I think that's kind of neat. I like the nice touch there. So, for example, if I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, I could hop on Messenger and record a video for you, as opposed to just sending you, an emoji, an animated GIF, right. Sending you a text message or something, right? So, so that's first minor update for Facebook. Nothing really big to touch on. Topic number 4, which I think is kind of important, is so we talked about the dislike button, and and the dislike button was something that a lot of people kind of were like, oh, you know what, I'm not interested in the dislike. Like, they didn't really understand how the dislike button was going to work. We had a great extensive chat on this. Well, so this is kind of neat. Facebook has come out with something where they're empathetic emoji, which I think is pretty neat. It's a way for you to be able to reply to to something. So instead of just saying, hey, I like something, you can say like, love, haha, yay, wow, sad, angry. So I like that they're going to add this potentially to Facebook. They're testing it with a few people right now. So you may see this when you go to respond to somebody. But put a link in there for everybody if you want to check that out. So that's the first item. Do you think, first off, question for you, do you think that this is a really good update for like the dislike button? Do you think that's a good thing to put out?
I mean, there's two sides to it. I think if it's somehow going to be factored into EdgeRank, and determine more easily what comes through to your feed, then that could definitely be valuable. Right. I don't know that that's the case specifically. Okay. I don't know that they've said that is the case. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, and it's fun. I've been posting this like on all my friends like posts about this. Yeah. I use stickers. Mm-hmm. There's so many stickers. Every time there's new stickers, like I love the stickers. I go and download them all the time, right, in the Messenger, and I use stickers to express emotion all the time. Right. And it takes 2 seconds. There's a little search magnifying glass. You can type in a word of an emotion or anything almost, and it's going to come back with something, with a sticker. And so that's why I don't totally get how different this is from using stickers. I mean, it's these little sticker gift things, but there's already those even too.
So actually, what is pretty fascinating about this here, I'm going to actually see if I can put this URL in there for everybody. So what's fascinating about it is this: it's essentially a replacement for the like button.
Right. But I mean, you can do that already. Technically, you can just, instead of liking something. So I see what you're saying, that's what the difference is. Well, I guess I just use the stickers already. I use them all the time.
So what I mean by that is, it's a replacement for the like button is this. So if I go to Facebook and I want to if I see a post and I actually have some sort of, pull towards it, whether I want to like it or comment on it or share it right now, right? This actually adds an additional layer where I can like it, and then I also have obviously the sticker, the emoji. And the benefit to the emoji is that, and I want to share this image if I can do it. There's a way to basically, like, if we shared something and I said, oh, hey, you know what? I got 25 thumbs up and I got 20 and 50 people gave me a frowny face or sad face. That's actually going to show on the content, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it does. I see. I agree. I agree with Patrick that I don't know that. I mean, some people care because I see people posting about it, and it's not just all social media people. I see some people. Well, that's Christian. He'll be back in a second. See, there he is. I see some people. I see some people caring about it. Right. Welcome back, Christian. I don't know that it's a huge game changer, like I said, unless, in my opinion, unless it will be factored into the stats, into the analytics. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe it was Robert Scoble that even, I don't know if he was being facetious or what, but someone kind of brought that up too and said, well, is it going to measure, you know, that you got 3 sad faces, 5 happy faces.
Yeah.
Is it going to say that? And he was like, yep. But no context. So I don't know if he was being serious or not.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. Like, it'll be interesting if they use it some sort, like, in a way, because I like the fact that, you know, you can have these varying degrees, I guess, of, you know, if it's going to potentially rank something. But at the same time, just imagine, like, if you post something and all of a sudden, like, say it did impact where it showed up in newsfeed, you could get somebody that trolls your post or whatever, and all of a sudden you get, you know, a whole bunch of like sad faces or something, and Facebook, you know, drops it or something like that, you know, from the feed.
Sure.
That's the only thing that I'd be really concerned with. So, so that's the next item.
So then if it say, and that part's all conjecture. I'm just, you know, we're just throwing that out there as if that's the case. But in your opinion, Christian, so say it's not factored into the analytics. Is it just something that, is it helpful as someone that manages brands and has, you know, has clients that have posts on Facebook and pages? Is it helpful to know this post got this many of this type reaction?
That is a very interesting question. So I think that, I think depending on the business you're in, it could be useful. But it is a very interesting dynamic because, you know, if I'm a company and I don't really put out like really exciting content,
yeah,
put out stuff that's very, you know, on brand, but it's, you know, but it's not exciting for people, like that could automatically get downranked, you know, and then it's like, okay, well then you have to explain that to somebody else that, you know, it's essentially, you know, having to explain how, you know, what those icons mean to people that are potentially looking at those reports, seeing your numbers or things like that. So I think it could be useful. I think that we're going to probably need some more context to kind of understand how it works.
I think it could be useful for like as someone that manages a brand. Like I could see myself using those types of things on certain posts. Mm-hmm. But I mean, our stuff, I already kind of know,
right,
generally what the reaction is going to be. Mm-hmm. But so it would be good to know if it's different from what I think it's going to be. That would be interesting. Patrick brought up. Will they track which emojis people give? So if you give all negative emojis, will you be downranked as a user?
That is a very interesting thing. I mean, in a way, it almost brings up like, would that person become, you know, would they be marked for spam or trolling or whatever?
Well, they become like a rater, like I don't know, like Uber or eBay, where as the user, mm-hmm. you get like a rating as the user if you're a good user of the platform.
Right. And I think that's a really great point. I mean, if you give all emoji, you know, that are negative, like how does that affect you as a user? Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that works for Uber. I mean, you know, it's nice that I can hop in a car and, you know, and I actually, in a way, I feel more like inclined to give somebody a review because like, you know, based on like, you know, having had that experience with them versus like, kind of having to remember it later on, you know, like, I mean, I like how that's kind of like, you know, at the forefront there. So, that's actually a good point. Sentimental reading. Should tell Facebook which emoji should be given.
Patrick's all over it.
So very awesome. So let's keep rolling here. If you guys want to jump in on anything, by the way, feel free to. Topic number 5, Facebook added a drawing feature for photos. And I mean, a lot of the things this week, I think, are very, what's the word? You probably like might look at some of these and say, oh, well, how does this apply to business? You know, a lot of this is personal, like seems like personal stuff. But, you know, I think if they could roll some of these features out for a business, I think this could be useful. You know, in a way, it breaks down some of those barriers that people think like, oh, business is untouchable. Like, you know, oh, I can't like engage with them, right? So this is a feature they're working. They're giving users the ability to draw on photos with a new feature.
Patrick just, again. Facebook just trying to integrate Snapchat. Like, how crazy is it? Again, looking back on 2 years ago now when Facebook tried to buy them, right? They tried to buy Snapchat.
Yeah.
And knowing that, see, I don't know if they poached any people from Snapchat at some point, or if it's just if what Snapchat is doing is just kind of like once they put it out there, Facebook could just, you know, pull it and mimic it and all that onto their own platform, because they've been doing this stuff with the pictures for a few months now at least, where not this drawing thing, that's new, but the other stuff where you could put emojis on a picture and put text like you do on Snapchat. And now the other thing that we should mention too is the profile videos. Mm-hmm. You can put up to, I think it's 6 seconds of a video in your profile photo.
Right.
And that, I used it this morning. I put a Snapchat video in my profile video.
Mm-hmm.
And I like merged the two together. But that seems like a silly thing, but I could see that being used as a valuable tool too. Yeah. Where you're the CEO of a company and you put your thing well, it's not available for business pages yet, but say it was, mm-hmm. say that's the next step. That can make it so personal. So, but back to the drawing board. Mm-hmm. It's fun. I could see businesses using it, certain businesses for sure, just like they use Snapchat. Certain businesses find uses for Snapchat. What do you think?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's going to depend on the context of the business. I mean, I was actually checking out the Doodle app now while we're chatting. Sorry, it's not really called Doodle app. It's basically an option when you launch. When you go to upload a photo, it will show up if you press on the photo and hold on it. You'll get the Doodle option. So I think overall, I think it's pretty neat. I think some businesses will be able to use it, but I mean, I think there's going to be some where like they're not going to venture down that path. I like that one. Yeah. How much time do you have to doodle on pictures? Maybe if I was bored, like I agree. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot more. It's a lot of work. I mean, to post a doodle. But
it is for us. It is for us. But think about what they're now trying to do too. Is Snapchat has that that millennial audience, and so now is this tapping into that, where that audience, it's never been that audience wasn't on or left Facebook. That's been proven as many times as people have said that the teens and all that Facebook's dying, they're not using it. They have profiles. It's just that their family, their parents, and everything, and I can speak to that. I have a 15-year-old. She's on Facebook, but she doesn't use it all the time. She uses other things. She uses Snapchat. She uses Instagram. She'll use Facebook, but she won't like tag us or her mother. Me or her mother.
Right.
So like, does this then help to kind of bring, because it's got those Snapchat features? Does that help them use Facebook in a way that they want to now with their friends? And yeah, Patrick, my 13 only Facebook chat. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I think this is partly because Facebook was, they tried to buy Snapchat. I think part of it is that's why we're seeing a lot of these features. But at the same time, I also, they're mimicking a lot of these features. But at the same time, I agree with you completely that Facebook is also, really trying to lure that audience back into, using their services more. Making it easy, for instance, to send money. What?
I was just saying, it seems like it.
Yeah.
Seems like that's what they're trying to do.
So you, by the way, we have a question here in the comments. It's a move towards Alibaba. Can you elaborate more on that, or if you want to join us for a second here, talk about that?
Oh, is that the shopping site?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's bring Patrick in real quick.
Oh, cool.
Oh, 2 seconds. Hold on. Sorry.
That's all right, man. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, how are you?
How's it going, Patrick?
Hey, guys. 2 seconds. Oh. Stress. No, it's good. Here you go.
All good. Let
me shut my door.
How to get the Manicam rocking.
Yeah, I got to get the Manicam rocking so I can promote myself down here on the bottom.
Looks good.
And then I got my dog here, so what's up? Dude, I think I'm not the greatest of Facebook users and whatever. I mean, really a Twitter kind of guy, but I think that Facebook, they're trying to go towards this e-commerce stuff, and I think they're going to go after Alibaba, if you ask me, or do a Western, Europe, Western kind of US kind of e-commerce platform. So I think they're trying to make the platform exciting to move towards e-commerce, because I think that's their greatest competitor at the present moment going forward is a site like Alibaba. They have the.
So you're thinking that this functionality, like that's the ultimate goal is to make it more user friendly, usable for that purpose.
mean, I don't know how many, like, so for me, like when I look at the teenagers, I have my kids and stuff like this, they don't use it, but I could see that my kid could get interested in buying things off of Facebook or using Facebook as a way to get services, to get games, to get merchandise and stuff like this. He would go there for that. Yeah. And that's how I feel like that they need to go in this direction, like Alibaba, because I think Alibaba's going to come towards Facebook because they have the same type of user base. You know, you can imagine if Alibaba built more of a social platform into their e-commerce system, they could directly compete with the likes of Facebook from this side. So I see Facebook having to go this way. So I see some of the features and functionality is to make it extremely user friendly, and then make it into an e-commerce platform, basically make it very easy to buy and sell things. And with all the data that Facebook has, it'd be very easy for them to target and
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, they've certainly tried to make it a e-commerce site over the years. That at one point, you know, they did heavily focus on it with the whole gifts idea. Kind of started going down that road, but people didn't really buy into it. I tell you what, I did. I bought a lot of stuff off that because it was these fun little things, you know, for people who could send them easy and all that. But as far as having like your store on your page and being able to actually buy things, Facebook didn't really, like, they let the third party apps kind of handle that. And then it didn't really, there was some backlash and people didn't really do it, but I agree with you. I mean, they definitely want to get in that ring.
They have to go that way. I feel like, if you ask me, like, now we've seen the Facebook, Twitter kind of stuff. Twitter can't keep up with Facebook. Facebook has been really good to kind of, it's a different platform. It does different stuff, but from this type of perspective, Facebook has a much better grasp on understanding what users want, whether it's through WhatsApp, whether it's through Instagram, whether it's through Facebook, through chat. You know, Facebook has been much better to expand their portfolio of usable apps and things, and not just stick to the platform Facebook. And then the only competitor I can see them having is Alibaba. I don't see anybody else competing with Facebook. This is where I see as they start to move away from the U.S. and move away from Western Europe, they're going to meet different competitors, and I just see Alibaba as their biggest threat at the current moment.
How about Google, though?
What is Google got? I just don't see Google play. Google sucks at social. That's the bottom line. Well, they could buy into Twitter maybe, but yeah.
In terms of the information that they have on people,
I think Facebook has more information.
They do. I agree. I just, like, right now Google is trying to implement some. There's a new advertising capability that has to do with the information that they have on everybody, search history and other stuff too. But yeah, I mean, Facebook has all the emotional information. There's no question. Has all the emotional information, has everything, you know, maybe not financial information, but it can be gleaned. It can be gleaned from the other stuff that you have about yourself on there.
I think all the social data put together, if you take Google, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, all this data together, you know, you can just create amazing profiles.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, you know, and this is what people are doing. Been living in Copenhagen, Denmark, the last couple of years, and we've had some TV shows recently. It's illegal actually to buy this behavioral data on Danish people. So if you're a Danish company, you can't buy this behavioral data from outside of Denmark. But there's been shows where they've gone to the U.S. and called up and received behavioral data from companies in the U.S. from all the information they've received off cookies, social data, everything. So they can basically, without knowing exactly who the person is, but they probably know that too, they can basically pinpoint you very, very directly, actually, from all the buying information you can get off of the net. But the problem I have with Google is they basically have shown that they're not very good in the social market. They've basically given up on Google Plus, and to me that's just a mistake. I think they should hang in there and just prove their commitment to it, because there's value in that. There, they shouldn't buy Twitter. That would be a huge mistake. But I think Google's confused. Actually, I know they're great at doing some stuff, but they've confused me a lot recently. I don't think they know what they're doing. So,
or Twitter. Right, Twitter probably doesn't seem to know what they're doing either.
We know this about Twitter, but what Twitter needs to do is, then they've just proven something really amazing. They can actually release stuff. They just release stuff, and they need to get on a release path like they have at Facebook. They need to release often and they need to incrementally update Twitter, whether it's 2-week sprints or 4-week sprints, but they need to get in the path of innovation, and they need to just let these things start flowing and deal with it there instead of having major releases. They need to have just minor releases all the time. They probably have a huge backlog of stuff that people have been asking for Twitter for years. All of us who've been on Twitter for a long time have been asking for stuff. Edit your tweets after you send them, all this kind of stuff. Just start releasing this stuff into the population and let the users tell you what's good and bad instead of waiting. I mean, it's nice to see them release something, so I give them credit for that.
And now with the – do you think that – I mean, I could see that heading more in that direction now with the new –
with Dorsey.
With the new CEO.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at I just got hired. I've been working at Microsoft now for 3 weeks, and one thing I really have realized, because 5 years ago I would never work at Microsoft. I think it just wasn't the right company for myself. But they're innovating like crazy inside of Microsoft. I've only been there for 3 weeks, and you can just feel it in their spirit that they're allowed to innovate and deliver on the innovation, whether you like it or not. But they're actually innovating, and they're releasing all the time, which is kind of new for Microsoft, if you ask me. This kind of spirit,
Yeah, well, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was yesterday, right? The Surface Book.
Surface Book is awesome, and not because I work at Microsoft.
No, but I mean, it's gotten rave reviews, and it's like the first thing really in how long that it feels like has really got a lot of people's captured a lot of imaginations.
Yeah. Well, I think Microsoft. It's a funny thing between Microsoft and Apple, and I'm not an Apple fanboy at all. And I thought the last Apple presentation of stuff, this is where you can see they've incrementally made things better, but they haven't actually released any new innovations, like just an upgrade to Apple TV, which I personally thought was absolutely terrible. I don't need Wii type games on my Apple TV. And apps for television is not the future. That's what Tim Cook said. The future of television is there is no television. All right, so I just don't see that as the point of innovation. But I think Microsoft has won the latest battle of innovation between Apple and Microsoft.
Yeah. So arguments definitely there to be made.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I think the joker in all of this is Amazon for cloud space and rack space. Is that what it is?
Yep.
But I don't know. Anyway, but I think Facebook's biggest competitor back to that one is Alibaba, and I think they need to go in that direction. And I think that this is kind of what they're trying to figure out is they need to make a move into Asia. They want to make a move into Asia, and they got to figure out how to do this if they want to continue their momentum.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense.
That's my thought. That's my 2 cents.
Well, no, that was great. I appreciate that. I know we have some tools to get to, so you're more than welcome to hang on, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang on. I'll pop out, so I'll just listen to you guys. It's kind of fun to hear what you guys are talking about.
Oh yeah, awesome. You can hang in the video too if you want to.
I'll hang in the video.
We only got about 8 minutes left, so we're gonna zip through these.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
By the way, Patrick, great to meet you. We'll have to connect with one.
What is your name, by the way? Your name is not Social Chief.
It's Christian, actually.
Christian, I just followed you on Twitter. You're Social Chief.
Social Chef.
And Vincent, we've been following each other for a long time, actually.
Yeah, I know, man. I absolutely. And here's this is Christian's Twitter right there. C Crocs.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into tools. So those are the topics we've got for today. We've got as we mentioned, Twitter moments, LinkedIn's revamped messaging and emoji support, LinkedIn group changes, Facebook's new emoji for the dislike button, and lastly, Facebook drawing. So let's go into these tools. Tool number one, I've got 3 tools for you. Tool number one is a tool called Social Quaint.
Yep.
And this is a tool to actually help you. So here's tool one. I'll put this in the chat for everybody.
Quant. Actually, it's Quant.
Social Quant.
Like quantify.
Danish guy, made by a good Danish guy.
Oh, have you heard of it?
Dude, this guy, Dr. Morton here, he is a famous Danish man. He built Target. He's a huge data scientist, like super genius kind of guy. So I'm pretty impressed. If he built it, then it's worth it. That's kind of my attitude.
Well, that's good to know.
How's that sound? But it's a little sketchy. So go on with the tool. I would like to hear what you have to say about it.
Thanks for correcting us on that. Actually, I didn't realize there was an extra I in there. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Social Quant, yeah.
Social Quant
do?
Okay, so basically, this is a lot of times people are like, okay, hey, how can I get a better following on Twitter? kind of tying into some of the stuff we talked about today. So let me get the link for everybody. Let me know if this works, by the way. I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody.
Oh, geez. You know what? I hadn't looked at this before. As far as the founder, it's his name always kills me, Dr. Morton Middlefart, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I see him all the time. He absolutely. I didn't realize he was the founder.
He's famous in Denmark. So
yeah.
I've been living in Denmark, and in the IT world in Denmark is very small, and this guy is very well known.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, just from the stuff that I see him tweet and put out on, well, Google Plus when I used to use that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's tool number one. The whole reason why I brought this tool up today was mainly because we talked about Twitter. Twitter's been in the news a lot lately. One of the biggest things with using Twitter is that a lot of people will go, and they'll follow either too many people at one time or they're following the wrong people. And what can happen at that point is you end up with, an audience that is not very, and with, either audience is not relevant to what you're doing or they're not engaged. Right. So, whole point of that is, you need to kind of build that following, and that tool can actually help you. They offer a free 14-day trial. They've got a paid version as well. But
are you using it, Chris?
Do what?
Are you
using it? No, it's actually a tool I've been looking at for the past few weeks. But I'm trying to surface tools for everybody to kind of help them based on the stuff we're talking about.
I'm definitely gonna try this one because this is almost like if you do the free trial, it's almost like running ads for your account, mm-hmm. like in a better way.
Yeah, and I mean, and in a way, it's unique in the fact that what some people will do is they'll say, okay, let me go buy Twitter followers, and they'll buy a bunch of people, and they won't be relevant people, but they got a great audience, a large audience, and so this tool kind of helps you, helps you with that. So
yeah,
you can do the same thing, like if you do managed Flitter, for example, where you could target users. I want to find all users that have hashtag B2B, for example.
Yep.
Put them on a pool. You could pay them actually to click the button for you. And this is basically for me the same thing. You basically say which keywords you would like to target users on, and it'll collect the users for you and follow the users and unfollow them and whatever. It has some kind of rules to it. That's how I understand how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have managed Flitter, by the way. That is a great tool. It's probably one of my favorite tools to use. So thanks so much for mentioning that one.
This one, if it seems like it's really the difference is with the analytics side that they have, that they've developed. I mean, that's what they're basing it off of. Is it's better than managed Flitter because they actually mention managed Flitter.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about the website, if I was to be honest, because I've looked at the website and I know him, I speak to him not often, but once a month, is that I think the website is it's too car salesman-like, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So that I feel like it cheapens the service because the videos and stuff to me make it sound like they're selling you something. Like I don't like the original ones. We'll make you famous and we'll tell you why. And I told him, who gives a fuck about being? I mean, who cares about that?
Yeah,
my friend, who cares about that? You have a great service. You're offering people targeted followers. That's anybody who knows social media knows that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's something that's actually a good point you make. I mean, they should probably try to target. I mean, I think they do sort of try to target that, but they should really try to make that point, a lot more clear for people because, like you said, the average person knows. If you know social media, you know that that's something that you should be, focused on. But a lot of people don't do it. So
yeah. And guys, I have a hard stop right now, so I'm gonna jump off. And Christian, thanks again.
No worries.
Finish it up, and I'm sure Patrick will stick around for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, can you stick around, Patrick? I got
two more things.
Do what?
Let it roll.
Cool. Tool number 2. This is actually more of a fun tool for people it's basically it's a very neat tool. So, if you take a lot of Post-it notes and you're writing a lot of notes on things and you've got them all over your office, this is a tool you can scan and it will actually take your Post-it notes and allow you to rearrange them. It works with a number of different types of Post-it notes. It's a free app as well. So I put a link to that there in the chat for everybody to check out. Do you do a lot of note taking, Patrick?
Yeah, I use one. I do OneNote for all of that actually. So,
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I use a lot of other tools, like I use Evernote and things like that for a lot of my note taking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think this can help a lot of people that do actually still use a lot of written notes.
I write a lot of notes.
Do it.
I write a lot of notes, but they gave me a Windows Phone, and the Windows Phone actually has a I'm having it on Windows 10 actually, and it has a built-in note button in the settings that open up OneNote. So it's part of the. If you look at the it's a part of the. Fuck you. Sorry. Part of the settings. So you just click the settings on your phone.
Yeah.
And there's like a note button. You just click that, and then it creates the note for you.
Very
Pretty
cool.
smart.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. It's a tool. In a way, it's almost a tool to also kind of help like digitize some stuff. And, I know you can snap some photos and use, one of the umpteen scanning programs or whatnot. But thought it was a pretty neat little program I wanted to share with everybody. And the third tool, well, this is actually not really a third tool, actually. It's a collection of tools. It's more about Instagram this week. And I'm going to give you this third one.
I love Instagram.
Basically, there are 7 tools that you can use to help build your engagement on Instagram.
Nice.
It's a post that actually somebody had put together. They sent it over to me, and I was like, you know what? There's some really good tools here. Some of these are free tools. Some of them are paid. Instagram is one of those things where there's a lot of options like for tools, but you have to be really kind of careful about what you use because Instagram, has very strict API rules, things. So
you're gonna put that link in there for that one.
Put that one in there, yeah. And that's a blog post. There's 7 tools, so obviously it's 7 tools. On top of that, there's basically got about 9 tools total probably. But there's some really great tools there. They're for building engagement. You can sell on Instagram, so neat ways to do that as well. I don't know if you've checked into any of that before.
I know. I'm reading through. I know Tagboard and I know Repost, and that's all. Those 2 out of the 7.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, Schedugram's a great one. I'll just rattle off some of the names. Iconosquare, Tagboard is great.
I just bookmarked the page. I'm gonna go back to it.
Exactly. So, so those are the 3 tools that I have for today. And by the way, I want to definitely chat with you afterwards. I appreciate you on the show today. I want to kind of learn how you can have your videos out there. Follow at Denmark on Twitter. No,
you got to download. Just hang on there right now. I'll tell you. You go to this link. I'll put it into the thing here.
Awesome.
You can get a free version of the. Let's just put. Oops. Here you go. I bought a version. I thought it would help. But you go download this one, ManyCam. This is what I'm using, and this is lower third. You can basically dictate the lower third, but you can also do other stuff. I can show you here, just for the fun of it. You can do like effects and stuff like this. On the video, so you can do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, so it's very similar to like what Google Hangouts was offering, I guess. Letting you
crazy thing, and you notice when I came in, I was showing my desktop, so you can basically share screens and whatever you like. You can run videos in it and everything. So it gives you the ability to kind of split up your screen. And I was actually gaming in here one time. So I would put on my phone, I would have one square off my mobile phone, and then the second square I would stream a video game, and then I would play, and then I would invite people in to talk about the video game while I was playing it. So I was using it as like a collaborative gaming platform.
Very nice.
But then I started a new job, so I haven't been on it.
Well, that is a really cool tool. I'm actually really glad you shared that one with everybody.
Nice. There's another one if you have a Mac. If you're using a PC, that's the one. But if you have a Mac, there's another one, but I can't remember the name of what it's called. Yep. But you can do stuff like this. I'll show you this. In this one, you download, you can get like picture mode. So you can actually put your camera in this one, and you put your desktop in the background, right? So you can use it as a,
Oh, that's actually good. Yeah.
So you can share your screen,
right,
and talk at the same time. So you can use it for you can double it up. You can do lots of stuff.
Nice. Can I actually? So here's a question for you. Like I use a tool called Reflector for mirroring my phone to my laptop. Is that something that's available to? Is that available to actually like mirror, for instance, my phone on the screen, or could I use that in conjunction with this? I guess.
You could do that. I'm looking at the sources. There's for games, IP cameras, add mobile. So there's a quick connect for mobile, for desktop. So if it's an app on your computer or a program on your computer, you can access the program and shoot it up onto the screen if you like to do that. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out. If you remember the Mac version, let me know because I'm a Mac user. So
I can get it for you. I'll tweet it to you later. I can't remember. Jordy, are you still here? He left. The guy Jordy. he would know. But I know these guys. There's some guys who are always in Blab. One guy's called Colin. He's got a beard. And another guy called Human2, whose name is John. They're Mac freaks, and they do all this kind of cam twist or something like that. Let me just see if that's the. Hold on. Now can I twist? I'm not a Mac guy, so.
No worries.
Hold on. Try this one here. I think this is the one here. I'll put it in the. But I can introduce you to John. He makes these lower thirds. Like mine's just thirds on the bottom that can have your picture like rotating and have a different color, so it looks really professional looking. So if you're going to get into Blab and you want to have a really nice lower 1/3% of your screen into something kind of like really professional looking, there's guys on here that'll do it for you for free. So
very cool. I'm going to have to check this out because this is actually really cool.
Yeah, this is really nice. You can do some nice stuff, and
I have to check these tools out. So, with that, I'm going to wrap up the show here. But that's what we've got for this week in social media marketing. Couple of last things here. That's pretty cool. You can rotate your screen. If you want to join next week's episode, you go and subscribe to it. And I'm going to put the link here for everybody to go and subscribe. We had a little bit of an issue with the link for this show, so this is next week's show, and obviously we'll have Vincent on, and then Patrick. Hopefully you'll come back. I mean, I've enjoyed having you on, chatting with you. I mean, I love tools and I love talking about technology.
I love talking about tools. Is great. I mean, everybody, if you've been in it for a while, been doing it for a while, everybody comes up with a list of tools that they use, and it's always great to find people who have used other tools and learn what they've done and the benefit they've gotten out of it, because everybody wants to get more efficient.
Because everybody uses, they always use the same tools. They're like, oh, hey, I've heard this one, and and if you've got enough, market share, and people just know your tool because it's top of mind, it really doesn't leave a lot of room for people to kind of introduce other tools. They're so ingrained in using that one. So I love talking about tools. So
this header, what you just put it in the chat here. Can't you make it the header, and then we can tweet it out before you turn off the Blab? So if you change the topic.
Say it again.
If you change the topic, if the topic of your Blab is social chatter, what's cooking, right? If you put what you just put in the chat to the right, if you make that the topic, then we can tweet it out before you leave, so it goes out on Twitter.
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Whatever I put in the little bird, it'll tweet the topic. If you change the topic, then that is what goes out on Twitter. So if we could promote the link for next week's already by putting it out on Twitter now.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Awesome. What do you want me to do?
Just take what you just put in the chat and make it the topic. Do you know how to change the topic?
Yeah. I go and edit the topic. Yeah. What do you want to put? Let's see. What do you want to change it to? Any ideas? You still there? So with that, by the way, one last thing, if you want to, also so if you can either subscribe to the topic or for next week's episode, actually, you can send a text. You can text weekly social to 33444. That will put you on our Blab email list. This way we will be able to notify you about next week's show. We'll give you a direct link to the show as well. No worries there, Patrick. So I'm going to put that here in the chat real quick for everybody. And with that, we're going to wrap up this week's episode of Social Chatter. And I'm going to try to get a replay of this posted later this weekend as well. So this way you'll be able to watch it again if you want to learn about any of the tools that we mentioned. So with that, thank you very much.